Hello everybody, welcome back to the show. So apparently, somebody named D'Angelo Wallace, or whatever his name is, made a video about the whole iDubbbz thing, and apparently a lot of people got mad over it. So that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. I can't wait to get started. But yeah, for those of you who are new here, there's always going to be timestamps in the description below, so if you don't have time to watch the entire thing, I understand, though I would recommend watching the entire thing, as my goal is, in fact, to be as entertaining as possible, obviously. So, yeah, but apparently D'Angelo Wallace said some controversial things or something, I don't know. It's been a long day at work, alright, so, for me, because I also work as a lifeguard, and, so it's like, well, this kind of messes with the stream schedule a little bit. Right, but I still gotta stream quite frequently if I want to grow the channel, because obviously that's important and whatnot. So, yeah, oh boy. Anyways, without further ado, but a little bit more further ado, I think once I get the video set up, hold on. I'm live, right? The stream is public. Hello there, Pancake Panic. General Kenobi, you are a bold one. Anyways, without further ado, I think we should just get right into the thing. I'm not trying to waste your guys' time. Alright, here we go.
Believe it or not, there are some YouTubers that even I enjoy watching, but one of them just shared a hot take that is so questionable, not even his own fans are buying it. Throw in the fact that he's responding to someone who's basically known for being questionable, and yeah, I have a few hot takes of my own.
I mean, fair enough.
Hi, I'm a random person on the internet. You're a random person. Convoluted, right? Like I'm named iDubbbz, aka Ian, who just put out one video apologizing for a series about.
Okay.
So I say what we do here is go back. From 2015 to 2017, the YouTuber iDubbbz uploaded new episodes to his hugely successful commentary YouTube series called Content Cop.
My favorite.
iDubbbz, real name Ian, had uploaded all kinds of videos to his channel, but Content Cop was by far the most well-known series, with multiple episodes currently sitting at tens of millions of views each. Since none of the events in this video would have happened without Content Cop, we're going to briefly revisit a few key episodes so we can see exactly what happened here, and we'll start with the one about Keemstar. So like most episodes, this one starts off with Ian acting out some sort of slapstick sketch before switching to some good old-fashioned YouTube commentary, in which he unironically drops the N-word with a hard R less than 15 seconds after sitting down.
We're going to check out a channel that's best known for the phrase
He then quotes
Based. I'm sorry, iDubbbz is based. I can't knock him for that. I mean, come on. That was entertaining.
something else using the word once again, and that's not even bleeped, by the way. That's all me. So dropping racial slurs just to prove that the person you're talking about also drops racial slurs is definitely a shaky start, but Ian actually does have some real points in this video.
This dude is the most
No, you are fundamentally misunderstanding what he was saying, my friend. He was not saying that he actually cared about, oh, Keemstar said the N-word 10 years ago, got him. Okay, that was the point. That's what we call framing, okay? He was making it very clear that that wasn't what he was criticizing Keemstar for. So instead, he was going to use it for comic relief. So, but you didn't play that part of the video because that would be inconvenient for your narrative, wouldn't it? Now I'm gonna try to be charitable to D'Angelo Wallace, even though I've heard bits and pieces of the video. I'm gonna, just go in as a blank slate. All right, I'm gonna try my best here. All right.
sensitive man on the planet.
See, Content Cop episodes were almost exclusively made on bad actors on the platform, people who actually did need to be called out. Ian was giving the people what they wanted and making plenty of good points as well, but the problem was for every good point, he had to throw in something like this. That way you never forgot that it was an iDubbbz video.
Even though I have 1,000 videos on the internet of me saying I'm gonna
Okay, but who cares? I'm sorry, I could not care less.
cry over this video.
That was the third one, by the way. So this mismatch of valid criticism with a complete lack of regard for delivery resulted in decent digs like this.
He has
Wait, no, the delivery was one of the best things about it. He gave criticisms in a way that was funny, and that was able to sway the minds of people that were on the opposing side. Like you have to remember that when it came to making a video about Leafy, for example, Leafy was known for bullying 10-year-olds, but Ian couldn't just, say, Leafy bullies people. Oh, he needs to be canceled, right? No Leafy fan would take that seriously or care at all. But what they would take seriously, or at least care about, is if iDubbbz were to bully him for not having a chin. And that's why a lot of Leafy fans ended up siding with iDubbbz, because iDubbbz was doing what Leafy was doing, but like 10 times better, and he was bullying the bully, right? So that's why it was effective. It was very rhetorically effective. I remember watching it when I was a lot younger.
He has no filter, he'll just do it. And this has resulted in countless examples of him saying really regrettable
Mixed in with completely terrible things like this.
I've never said this unironically, but I think this will be the first time I actually say it unironically and mean it. Kill yourself.
So,
Based.
yeah, how many views could you get in 2016 YouTube by making a few good but blatantly obvious points, throwing around racial slurs like it's nothing, and then telling the subject of your video to literally kill themselves? Well, 33
Did you even watch the video? What? Okay. Yeah, sure. Sure, yeah, acting like you... Okay. Alright, we'll just continue.
million, of course. Look, I know people still complain about commentary YouTube to this day, but dear God, at least it's not like that anymore. Anyway.
It's not like that anymore. That used to... Oh, it used to be so awful. It was just horrible, you know? It's like, no, you're over-exaggerating something that really wasn't that big of a deal.
Lest you think I pulled a particularly risque episode of Content Cop, let's
No, the Keemstar one was really good.
take a look at another one. That way you can see that Ian was literally always like this. So this next one was a Content Cop on banned YouTuber Leafy is here.
Which was one of the most based videos in the history of YouTube, okay? The Leafy Content Cop was like an actual masterpiece. I'm sorry, that's just a fact.
And it racked up
And it was also the first iDubbbz video I've ever seen.
over 30 million views as well.
And I'm perfectly fine with bullying. Make fun of someone because they're fat, autistic, or riddled with acne. I don't care. Make fun of them. I think my only stipulation with the bullying is that you also have to not be a
Once again, this video is rightfully criticizing Leafy for his actions, specifically the way he used his giant platform to bully random children on the internet, but
Yeah.
once again, the way Ian went about it was just extremely counterproductive.
Are you stupid? It was not counterproductive. It did exactly what it was set out to do. You must not understand this, but I'll explain it real quick, D'Angelo, alright? It's this magical thing called framing, okay? When you know that you're making a video where it's not going to be immediately well received by the person you're making it on, you have to think, okay, what type of video would I make that would be compelling enough for the average 12-year-old fan of Leafy to sort of change their mind about Leafy and whatnot, right? It's like, oh, well, clearly, just doing what Leafy does, but a million times better, and directed towards Leafy, applying Leafy standards to him. That's why it was effective. Now, I also believe that the number one flaw of Content Cop was that Content Cop was only half of the equation. He was very effective at applying other people's standards to them, but he never really replaced them with his own standards. He never replaced them with anything, really. What would have been the most productive thing to do would be to, use their standards against them, and then explain why your own standards are more logical, and that would be a perfect video.
This is a picture of Leafy at the little meetup, and there's no filter here. This is him in his natural environment. Unfortunately, a profile shot.
Bullying someone over their physical appearance to prove that you should not bully people over their physical appearance is definitely not the 4D chess move that everyone...
Are you fucking stupid? No, it's called bullying the bully. It is categorically very different from bullying a random 10-year-old who literally did nothing, okay? The main difference being Leafy actually deserved it, okay? That was the point. That was the point. It was literally using Leafy's own standards against him to prove a point, and it was effective, and Leafy deserved it. So again, so far, I can understand why people think that this video is really dumb. This is a horrible take. This is a horrible take. I thought that D'Angelo was gonna maybe say one or two things that were like, a little bit on the questionable side, but no. No, he's just flat out wrong. This is some of the dumbest shit I've ever seen.
One seemed to think that it was at the time. Nevertheless, Ian persisted, even going so far as to involve random strangers.
Someone disappeared, huh?
No, it's just his chin disappeared.
Oh,
Put the OK sign on the chin, just like that.
Looking back, I would actually say the main point of this
Oh, okay.
video gets kind of lost in the sauce, as Ian seems like he spends more time talking about Leafy's chin than he does talking about actual valid criticisms against.
No. You are fundamentally misunderstanding the point. Clearly, you never actually watched iDubbbz back in the day, if this is your takeaway. Okay, I've watched all of his content comps at least 2 or 3 times, if not more. Especially the Leafy content cop. The way it was made was not intended to just, find random people that don't have chins and bully them. That obviously wasn't the point. The point was to bully the bully. That was the entire premise of the video. And obviously when he said, I like bullying or whatever, that clip gets taken out of context all the time. Obviously, Ian doesn't just like bullying for no reason. He likes bullying when it is warranted, when there is a genuinely justifiable reason to do so, right? But that gets taken out of context.
This is what a normal human skull looks like. This is what Leafy's skull looks like.
True.
Groundbreaking stuff, really. And YouTube treated it as such too, until they somewhat inevitably deleted the video in 2019 for being a pretty blatant breach of their bullying and harassment guidelines.
But like, that doesn't mean that it was a good thing to take it down, and when the video was made, it wasn't a violation of TOS. So, at the end of the day, they shouldn't have changed their TOS to make it a violation in the first place.
Just like the Keemstar video, this was a well-deserved call-out, but with an absurd execution. Anyway, now that you have
No, the execution was good. Do you not remember the amount of Leafy fans that became iDubbbz fans and just completely turned on Leafy? That was the point. It's like you weren't there. You weren't there when it was initially released.
a feel for the style of Content Cop, let's look at one final episode before we leave it all in the past where it belongs. This episode is going to come back up later in the video because it's arguably the worst one, and by arguably, I mean definitely.
A couple months ago, Tana Mojo tweeted at me that she was very unhappy with my use of the N-word.
I will say that, yeah, if I had to pick whatever Content Cop is the worst one, I would say probably the Tana one. The criticism a lot of the time was pretty strong and solid, but a lot of it was pretty weak, right? Or he was just saying things that are kind of illogical, or that just ignore any potential nuance of the situation. And, going to the event, I think was kind of stupid. But, again, I don't think it was a terrible video, but it could have been better.
I didn't respond to her tweet. Instead, I did a bit of research and I found out that she used the dreaded N-word in the past.
So after playing 2 clips of Tana using the N-word, iDubbbz launches into this tirade about how people are too afraid of using the N-word, hard R and everything.
We are very stupid to hold the word at this colossally high standard, whereas every other slur, that can be used in a comedic sense or an editorial sense, but
I think that this point alone, though, while he wasn't executing it in the best way, and while he later goes on to say something really stupid, the whole, either all of it's okay or none of it's okay thing, it's like, no, there's gray area. Some of it is, like, questionable. Some of it's like, maybe don't say that. Some of it's like, yeah, you probably shouldn't say that, right? They're at different levels. But I do agree that, yes, you should be able to use it in a comedic and editorial context, right? Or if you're just quoting somebody else saying the word. I think that that's perfectly fine, right? Again, context does matter, okay? And again, I mean, sure, you could argue that, the color of the person's skin or what they look like is some form of context. Now, I don't disagree with that, right? Because it's like, okay, well, if a black person says the N-word, it's probably not because they're racist, right? Usually black people don't hate other black people. It happens. There's been instances of that being the case, but generally, at least not in this country, the great United States of America. Usually that doesn't really happen, whereas it's like, oh, well, but if a white person says it, it's like, ooh, I don't know about that one, chief. But it's like, if you know the person, or you know why they're saying it, I think that should supersede whatever immutable characteristics they may have, right? It's like, okay, if you're just quoting somebody else and it's very obvious that you're quoting somebody else, I don't see what the issue is. And I think that that's a point that kind of got lost in the video.
But not this one. Either all of them are okay, or none of them are okay.
And that's the part I disagree with.
That sort of sounds to you like he was suggesting that we use slurs more often. That's not only what he was suggesting.
No, even though I disagree with him, that's not what he was saying. He was saying that people should have more consistent standards when it comes to whether or not it is or isn't justifiable to say certain words. Now, again, I don't agree with Ian. I tried to say iDubbbz and Ian at the same time. I don't agree with Ian here. But no, that wasn't the point he was making. This is a really bad faith interpretation.
He was just actively encouraging it.
Have you or your friends ever said a word so frequently that it's lost a lot of the initial punch that it had, and eventually it just lost all meaning entirely?
A video in which someone with a large platform goes on a rant about how using slurs is good, actually, is just...
No, he didn't say it was good or bad. He just said, okay, you know, you have a standard that you apply to this word but not these words. That was the point he was making. Again, I don't agree with him because, again, the weight of any given word is going to be different, right? Again, how often do you hear someone saying the word is zipperhead as an insult and then somebody gets offended by it? Not very often, right? So it's not the same as the N-word. But still, there was a point he was trying to make. At least, if you're going to, you know, make a counter-argument, you need to acknowledge the point he was making in the first place before you make the counter-argument to it. Otherwise, you're just lying.
Just already such an L in and of itself, and yet he just couldn't stop.
All of you people out there who hold these words at such high esteem, you are giving it the power that you so desperately want it to not have.
That part is true. He is spot on when he says that people that, you know, hold it at really high esteem and make a big deal out of it when it's not that big of a deal. He is right about that. That gives it power that it doesn't need to have. This is why in my Discord server, for instance, you can say any and all slurs, including the N-word, right? Slurs that apply to me and in other minority groups. I don't care. All of that is fine. The reason is because I'm a debate streamer, so, you know, it's like I don't want to immediately ban whatever Nazis joined because they might be there to debate me, right? That's sort of the point, right? But I don't want their words to hold any weight. So if they start going around saying the N-word a bunch of times, I don't want that to be like a super shocking and hurtful thing to my audience. So in a way, it's like an exposure therapy, right? It's like, oh, if you just use the words for everything that isn't their intended purpose, it's like, oh, well, now the word itself doesn't really mean anything. And we actively make fun of people that use slurs for their intended purpose and only their intended purpose, right? As opposed to just goofy words or, like, you know, I mean, it depends on the slur, but you get the point.
Blaming you people for slurs is not just stupid, it's pretty backwards as well, since the whole idea is that slurs have been historically used against people who wouldn't have had enough power to speak out about how wrong they were in the first place. Besides that, Ian gets mad.
Wait, what? Yeah, okay, yeah, but people can speak out about whatever they want. I don't, like, yeah, historically, yeah, but historical context is not the only context that exists, okay? I mean, in the clip that you showed, Ian was talking about specifically an editorial context and a comedic context. Those were the two examples he brought up. Not historical context, okay?
That Tana called him racist for using the N-word all the time. Like, he seems legitimately offended.
I wouldn't deem her racist because I don't know what's in here or what's in here. But the fascinating part about all of this is that she won't offer me or any of you guys the same level of respect.
I don't need to know your innermost feelings to know that it's racist to use racial slurs all the time.
I mean, I guess it depends on how loosely you want to use the word racist. Again, I don't think that, at least not ideologically, iDubbbz was ever racist. You could argue that maybe consequentially, because he didn't do a good enough job articulating instances in which it's not okay to say the N-word, you could argue that consequentially maybe his actions could have been racist because he didn't really, you know, elaborate instances in which, you know, oh, it's not okay to say it in this context, however, right? Meaning, okay, you could argue maybe he was enabling some bad behavior. You could argue that. But to claim that he was racist, ideologically, I think is dishonest, it's disingenuous, you know, I don't know. It's very bad faith.
I don't care what's in here, and there's obviously nothing up here if you think that's a valid defense. And by the way, when I...
No, Ian's always been pretty smart.
Say all the time, I do mean all the time. Like, here is a non-content cop video in which Ian is reacting to this guy who had launched a Kickstarter campaign.
Hi, my name is Jake, and I'm a ginger Latino.
Why is that his opening line?
And then he goes on to compare this to not just the N-word, but the F slur as well?
Hi, my name's Ian, and I'm a fat. I kinda said it like I was.
Yes, this originated from a somebody who was responding, I think, to his Kickstarter crap, and then they called him the N-word F slur, right? And that's where that came from. And he was like, you know what? Yeah, maybe I am N-word F slur. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna call me and my audience now, right? He owned it, right? But again, you're not gonna include that context because you never actually watched his videos.
Was autistic, like I had Tourette's.
That is obviously racist, right? As well
No.
as homophobic. In fact,
No. As somebody who has the big gay, if you couldn't tell already, no. I don't find it offensive at all. Context matters. Like, I understand, you might find a particular word offensive, right? That's fine. That's perfectly valid. You could even say that it enables racism. But to claim that Ian himself is racist is kind of disingenuous, right? You could say, oh, well, that was a racist action. He just didn't realize it. And I might agree with that. But again, that would require too good of a faith of an interpretation. I cannot English today. I'm sorry. Before we continue, oh my god, I need a small break. Debate Hassan. I would if he wanted to debate me. MX Femios, not gonna lie, I've been writing this for a minute to try and be constructive, but both y'all have wacky points. However, I'm sorry to report that you shouldn't choose iDubbbz as the hill to die on, as it's okay, he's bullying the bully, is just bad. Debating for someone who asks for it in the description, what? Okay, I'm gonna add, as I view, you articulated your opinion on the gray area of edgy humor well, and now you're speaking for black people. How am I speaking for black people? When did I ever do that? I'm speaking for gay people, maybe, kind of, not really. I'm speaking for myself, maybe. Hello, Trividex, hello, Toki, welcome to the stream. But no, at no point did I speak for black people. That's fucking stupid. I don't speak for anyone but myself, and maybe iDubbbz. Occasionally, because I know his content well. But I'm not here to speak for anybody else, right?
Ian strung those two words together that they pretty much just became his catchphrase that he...
Yeah, but again, you are ignoring the context. Again, it is fine. If you find whatever words offensive, you don't like them, that's perfectly fine. You can criticize him for it. Maybe you think, okay, he's using it too liberally, and, he's not making his intentions clear enough, right? But to claim that he must be this ideologically racist, terrible person is, again, it's completely stupid and disingenuous to do that. Ian was never ideologically racist, right? He was wrong in a lot of instances, but that doesn't mean that he was a bad person or that he had malintent, right?
He would repeat in multiple videos over and over and over.
Just get a load at how perfectly the word is written in this letter.
And over. But why stop there when you can make fun of trans?
Oh, is that the sound of a donation? Hey, thank you, Mutated Cutie, for the $3. How many streams are you gonna make about this, bruh? Too many to count. To be fair, I'm criticizing D'Angelo Wallace, okay? It's more about him than iDubbbz, okay? It's, it's like, come on, if you're gonna... he's doing a really bad job so far. It's like, come on, if you're gonna criticize my surrogate father figure on the internet, you gotta do a better job than that. I mean, come on.
And disabled people as well.
I'm a wibbly-wobbly, transgendered, queer, autistic. Last semester, I drowned my cat in a bathtub, and I felt nothing.
iDubbbz tried so hard to create...
I'm sorry, but that's funny. Okay, look, see, but it's like, I don't take it seriously. That's the point, okay? All right, I have the big autism and the big gay, and I didn't think that, and I also have the big trans, okay? So, and I don't find any of that offensive, even though I'm supposedly the one who would be the victim of such a heinous crime. But apparently, apparently that's how I'm supposed to feel, I guess. But I don't. Why? Because I understand context and humor, okay? I'm not here to be the joke police or the fun police, okay? I would not want to go to a party with D'Angelo Wallace. He would be boring as fuck. It would just be like, he would just be making it a more boring place, being like, no, you can't do that. That's bad. Don't do that. Don't you dare make a joke or have fun.
Create all of this pseudo-intellectual context for why he should be allowed to spread hateful content, but that wasn't enlightenment.
No, his content wasn't hateful. You could say that it enabled hatred. Again, I don't even disagree with that necessarily, right? It very well could have, heavily contributed to negative outcomes. But, again, he was not hateful, and his content was not made with the intent of being hateful. That is what you are failing to understand here.
That was just an excuse for someone whose idea of humor is to joke about raping starving black children.
Again, you not finding it funny is fine. You could even say it's in bad taste. I didn't, reading that.
Enlightenment? That was just a...
I don't know. I didn't find this joke very funny, frankly. I read it and I wasn't like impressed by the way it was delivered. But it's from 2013. So I don't care.
An excuse for some.
And also, even if it was in 2023, I would still say, oh, that wasn't very funny. That was in bad taste. But again, I can tell it's a joke. It's very obviously a joke, right? You shouldn't pretend like it's not.
Someone whose idea of humor is to joke about raping starving black children. This is what can happen when you have literally no ability to relate to the idea of being marginalized, because society...
As somebody who definitely can, okay? You might not be able to tell, but I'm not the straightest or most cisgender human being on the planet. I actually am intending on starting HRT soon. So, as somebody who is marginalized, maybe in different ways, no, I can still understand humor and appreciate it, right? Now, what I don't appreciate, right? Humor, quote unquote, that I don't think is okay, is saying what you actually believe when your beliefs are hateful, but then giving yourself plausible deniability by like sort of, giving hints of irony, but like also it's like if you agree with me, then what I'm saying is what I believe, but if you disagree with me, oh well, I was just joking. You're an idiot. You shouldn't have taken it seriously, right? You know exactly what I'm talking about. Or dog whistling. I'm not okay with any of that. But Ian never did that. He was never somebody who was dog whistling. He was never using edgy humor as like a scapegoat. It was literally never the case that he was he never had any malintent, and it's very obvious.
Society has always been centered around you. The whole idea of
me, oh god, the camera's not working. Hold on, I need to. Why does it do this? My camera is being a butt face. Okay, it's being a poopy head. Hold on. When am I gonna get added to top donors? Oh shit! I completely forgot about that. I will do that after stream at some point, and if I don't, I'll do it tomorrow. I have the same cat ears based. It's not even making fun of autistic people. It's more like mocking catatonic people, which is more like sociopaths. Yeah, true. I have the same cat ears based. Hey, thank you for the $3. Even the camera is getting tired of this topic from Mutated Cutie. Nah, the camera loves it. The camera loves the iDubbbz videos. What do you mean? I don't understand, sorry, I don't like the perpetual victim status progressive blacks have. Like they think they got it worse. Literally go look at Native Americans. Their culture is in scraps. Also true. But it's like, come on. Like, do you think I don't know what it's like to be marginalized? When I have tons of people that are like, that hate me on the sole basis of me being trans, and I constantly get things like death threats and people threatening to dox me and whatnot. You think that I don't deal with that type of shit? You are sadly mistaken, Mr. Wallace, okay? I'm sorry, but you are sadly mistaken. But I can appreciate a good joke when I hear one, okay? Including jokes about trans people. Yes, I know. Yeah, you might find that hard to believe. But regardless of whether you're trans, cisgender, gay, straight, whatever, I don't care. If you make a funny joke, and it's obviously a joke, then I don't give a shit if it's offensive or whatever. Maybe I don't even find it funny, but I'm not going to use that as a reason for why I don't think you should be able to say something. Like, come on. Either way, this appeal to identity politics is just a sad and pathetic way of, well, I don't know, just not having an argument but pretending like you have one, I guess. It's like, I understand, like, okay, I understand you could make the argument of, oh, well, it affects D'Angelo more than it affects you, Femios, because we're specifically on the topic of the N-word, and that's, like, a really bad one. It's like, okay, but I think that, even if he's personally offended by it, that's fine. But again, I think that, it's like, you don't have to, like, you can make arguments that go beyond your physical appearance, my guy, okay? You don't have to constantly, play into identity politics. Take, I always forget his name, Shark 300. Yes, I think I nailed it that time. Shark 300 is an example of somebody who does it right. I don't agree with all of his takes, but he does it right. He's not here to play into identity politics and be like, oh, I'm the victim, and oh, it's like, oh, what, like, you're saying this because you're white, and it's like, okay, well, that's not, like, he doesn't engage in that, right? It's like, so it's like I don't know.
Of the margin itself, and everyone on it becomes kind of just like a joke. So much of a joke, in fact, that going back to the Tana content cop, Ian went so far to get back at her as to attend one of her fan meetups.
Yeah, which I thought was kind of weird. Yeah, looking back, yeah, maybe that wasn't a very good idea. I don't know. I mean, if you want to make a criticism about that, fair enough.
Just so he could be captured on camera saying the N-word in front of her in public.
And again, I don't agree with what iDubbbz was doing here, but his intentions, whether you like it or not, was to get a reaction from Tana. Even in the content comp itself, he admitted that, yeah, the joke wasn't even very funny. If Tana had just walked away and just said, oh, that wasn't very funny, you should get better at comedy. It's like, oh, well, you would have just destroyed me. But you couldn't do that because you're the most predictable human being on the planet. Now, I don't think that relying on predicting people's actions and relying on their actions after you do something as a justification for doing that thing, I don't think that that's a very good justification for an action. But I do get where Ian was coming from, even if he went too far, which I think he did. He shouldn't have gone to the event. I think that was stupid. I don't really think that I don't know. He could have made the video without doing that.
And that, sitting at a cool 35 million views to this day, is the Tana Mojo content cop. Now, if this is your first time hearing about the series, then I really hope the numbers paint the picture here. This wasn't just some fringe series living in a dark corner of the internet, right? These videos were all over YouTube. There are like 100 million views between just the 3 videos we looked at today. For better or worse, content cop is pretty much ingrained into YouTube history due to its timeliness and reach. People still reference it to this day. Heck,
hell yeah, I do.
I even did a parody of it in one video a few years back. But for any positive impact that content cop had in furthering the commentary genre on YouTube,
well, it didn't just have a positive impact on me because it furthered the commentary genre, okay? I hate to be an anecdote Andy here, okay? But just hear me out, alright? I think I've mentioned this a few times, but, back in whatever, the first, the first half of middle school, like 6th grade, first half of 7th, okay? I got bullied a bit, alright? I'm not gonna lie. I wouldn't have admitted it back then, but yeah, I definitely did. But I do also remember, and I think for a while I was also a Leafy fan, and then that made me better at roasting people back. because people thought Leafy was cool back then. But you want to know what made me really good at roasting people back? It was iDubbbz, okay? I remember seeing Ian's video in my recommended. It was the Leafy Content Cop. And oh my god, my camera isn't working again. But I remember seeing the Leafy Content Cop in my recommended. I didn't know who this iDubbbz guy was. I thought, oh, he's just gonna complain about Leafy bullying kids, and oh, he's using his platform irresponsibly, and make bad arguments like that. It's like, okay, I've already heard it. Yeah, he bullies kids. Because it was like, whatever. I was disaffected by then. I didn't really, care or see the issue with, talking shit on the internet. It's like, well, it's the internet. People talk shit. Just don't post videos of yourself if you don't want people to talk shit about you, right? But it's like, at the same time, I guess I was, it would be weird if I could go a single day without at least one death threat against me. True. I haven't seen this whole video, but it kind of seems like this is just a cancel culture argument. Like he tried to apologize. Or is this more of a critique of critical? I don't know yet, but it's still a bad argument. Destiny made me a god tier shit talker, TBH. Yeah, that's fair enough. I'd say iDubbbz made me a god tier shit talker. I'd say, yeah, because iDubbbz has this, like he always had in the past, at least, this funny, edgy, disaffected nature to him that's, like, hard for most people to replicate even, right? It's like, but I was able to kind of nail it, right? I also had a really good Filthy Frank impression back in the day. I don't think I can still do it, but it would probably hurt my voice. But, yeah, I remember, it's like, oh, well, here's this guy who's kind of a nerd, like me. Okay, I was a nerd. I wasn't openly gay back then, or trans, but I was a nerd, and I got made fun of sometimes. Oh, here he is. He doesn't need to take himself seriously, but people still, like, respect that, and it doesn't even matter if people don't respect that because he's not taking himself seriously. Oh, and he's good at roasting, and he's bullying the bully? Like, that dude was my fucking inspiration. Like, that was the most empowering shit. Like, that... And I was really good at... yeah, in 8th grade, I was really good at roasting. I was one of the best, actually, I'll have you find. And then I probably got worse after a while. Because I stopped roasting people because I just didn't care anymore. I was too lazy, and, like, people just stopped talking shit to and about me because they knew I was gonna roast them or something, or they just grew up. One of the two. And now I'm on the internet, and I do debates, so I'm probably better at roasting again. I don't know. But I roast people for different things now. But at the end of the day, Ian improved... my roasting abilities, which is great, okay? If you're getting bullied, I mean, that shit's really useful, okay? He improved my self-confidence, he improved my rhetorical approach, and guess who is a leftist streamer now? Yeah, that's right, yours truly, look at me, alright? Oh, is that another donation? Hey, thank you, Mutated Cutie, for the additional $3. We get it, iDubbbz is sexy and you want to have sex with him? Hell yeah, I do. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Who doesn't want to have sex with iDubbbz? I'm sorry. I don't get why his wife made an OnlyFans when he should have made his own OnlyFans. He should be the one with the OnlyFans. I'm sorry. But all jokes aside, that dude did kind of have a big impact on my childhood. I'm sorry. It's just the truth, okay?
It's just really obvious how large the setbacks were as well when it comes to fostering a positive environment on this
bullshit
platform. The negative impact of Content Cop is pretty much impossible to measure due to the uncountable number of impressionable ears that were...
Oh, yeah. Dude, the effects of Content Cop were, they were just, like, so bad. So, okay, alright, yeah, what were the effects... What were the effects of Content Cop, Mr. Wallace? Ah, well, you see, they were actually so big that I can't even measure them. Oh, so can you come up with any specific examples? Oh, well, there were just too many. I can't count them all.
We're all too willing to accept Ian's busted mantra that slurs are the solution. And this...
Wait, did he say that? Or was he saying, oh, you should be more consistent? Again, I don't agree with Ian in that video either. Okay? Yeah, he said some stupid shit. But I don't think it was like this like, oh yeah, you should go up to every black person you see and call them the N-word. That was never his stance. He never said that. In fact, he would probably say the opposite even back then. It's like, well, no, that's not in a comedic or editorial context. You're just being a bad person. You're just being racist at that point, right? That's what he would have said.
This harm has largely gone unaddressed by Ian because everyone kind of just moved on, I guess. Largely unaddressed.
Yeah, people moved on. Yes, I myself included, it's not that big of a deal.
Just that is until last week. 6 years after the Tana content cop, iDubbbz has decided to apologize. And personally, I think this might just be the most interesting apology I've ever reacted to.
For a while, I felt like if I changed my content over time, that people would see that as a reflection of who I am and what I value. But I'm starting to realize that that is a very weak and passive way to run my channel and live my life.
So in the years since content cop, Ian did in fact change his content. Like I said, the series only went from 2015 to 2017. And in the years since, he's tried his hand at a variety of content styles, but the incessant slurs and consistent disregard for anybody who seemed to get offended by them.
Wait, the disregard for people that seemed to get offended by them. Like what? This is so, I don't know, this is not a good argument. It's like, yeah, people get offended by a lot of things. Okay, I've had people get offended by my use of the word retard, right? But just because people get offended by me saying the R slur doesn't mean I'm not going to say it, right? Like, no one has a good argument against me saying it. Even if you want to id poll and play into identity politics, I mean, you still don't have a good argument because I have the big autism. I'm sorry. That's just how it is.
Did pretty much dissipate over the years. But nevertheless, I do completely agree with Ian right here that just because he changed his content doesn't necessarily mean that we should automatically assume that's a reflection of his values. It would be really nice to assume that he changed his content because he no longer...
I mean, to be fair though, yeah, your content can be a reflection of your values. I think that it can be. I mean, again, it's not always going to be, but usually if you're changing your content, you're probably changing as a person.
Supports it. But the truth of the matter is YouTube no longer supports that either, so we're not really going to know the real reason unless he shares it with us, which I guess that's what he's here to do today.
If I'm going to have the balls to go to Tana's fan meetup and say slurs at her and then make a video about how it's okay to say slurs, I think I should have the balls to make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I made. So that's what this video is.
Okay, so at this point, I was actually pretty surprised. I find that oftentimes when people make these YouTuber apology videos, they tend to be really vague about what they're talking about. That way, on the off chance that you didn't know what they did, they're not the ones who let you know. But here Ian is in the very beginning of the video, just jumping straight into the point.
I am
Yeah, I mean, fair enough. Also, my camera is being so bad today. I'm sorry. I don't know what it is. You're gonna have to bear with me, okay? I'm still drinking my water according to my camera. Wow, would you look at that? I sure am one thirsty boy.
Responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. And I've also created a culture of apathy and, I don't know, a lot of like cruelty as well.
Cruelty?
I disagree.
Is definitely a strong word, but yeah, I think it applies here. Criticize
I fundamentally disagree, and I've already explained why. I'm not gonna reiterate.
people is one thing, but telling them to kill themselves, mocking their appearance.
Yeah, but we're talking about Keemstar and Leafy, okay? They deserved it. We're not talking about random people on the internet. We're talking about bad people. People that did and said terrible things, okay? So, oh god, poor Leafy. He got bullied for not having a chin. Oh no, I feel so bad for him. And oh no, don't even get me started on poor, innocent Daniel Keem, who actually liked the content cop and was glad that Ian made it because he realized, yeah, I fucked up. I need someone to hold me accountable for this shit. You know, I'm willing to take the L there. Keemstar actually, you know, was man enough to say, yeah, actually, I think Ian is right here. And he's grown as a person, slowly but surely. I mean, he's still kind of a dumbass sometimes, but he's kind of mellowed the fuck out, right? And he still, he holds that video in high regard for a reason. I don't even think Tana cared. I'm pretty sure Tana saw the apology and she's like, actually, I don't know. I mean, I thought that he made some valid points. I don't know. I didn't see her reaction, but I heard about it. And Leafy was, you know, if he genuinely cares about it, you know, his poor victim Leafy, then, I mean, Leafy said that, you know, if you're gonna apologize to me, you gotta say that I have a nice chin. And I haven't heard Ian tell Leafy that he has a nice chin. So, I don't know.
Purposely making them uncomfortable by saying slurs in front of them, all while ignoring the people telling you that your behavior is having a negative impact. Pretty much just...
Well, just because somebody says that your behavior has a negative impact doesn't mean it's true, okay? People say... I've been told that by wearing cat ears and skirts... This is my skirt for today, by the way. Wait, hold on. Oh, wait. The chair's in the way. I'm sorry. See? Here's today's outfit. Anyways. Okay, as I was saying, me wearing skirts, thigh highs, chokers, and cat ears has been something that conservatives have said is negatively affecting people. They can't tell me why, but they assert that it's true. So again, just because somebody says something is negative doesn't mean it is. I mean, conservatives get offended over the clothes I wear, okay? I don't care if people get offended. Like, that's stupid. Whether or not something is offensive to a certain group of people is irrelevant. Okay, I offend conservatives and Christian fundamentalists all the time. And you don't see me considering what they have to say because I don't give a shit. Alright, they can shove the Bible up their ass, right? But I apply that same standard to everybody, right? It's like, oh, well, I'm gonna do what I want, and if you don't like it, fucking cry about it, I guess. I mean, my goal is to, you know, I generally try to be a good person, but it's like, at the end of the day, I can't please everybody, right? So I'm gonna please people who I think are worthy of being pleased, and especially people that are similar to me, of course, because, I mean, I'm me, right? I'm gonna have a certain bias, right? I'm not saying that it's intentional either, but, I mean, it can be, it could also not be. But again, obviously people tend to have biases in favor of themselves, right?
The definition of cruel and apathetic, yeah.
I don't think they you know, some of these videos were edgy. I think they were just outright cruel.
I don't know. It's like, I don't think that there's a such thing as being too cruel to Leafy or Keemstar in 2016.
I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it.
So personally, this is where I really started to appreciate this apology.
I mean, I appreciate the apology and the sentiment. I remember the part where he was like, oh yeah, I was at like a fan meetup or whatever, and there was, you know, a fan of mine who you know, came up to me and said, I know you probably don't like trans people, but can I take a picture with you? And that shit hit different, for obvious reasons, right? It's like, oh, is that another donation? Thank you, Mutated Cutie, for the $3. Different argument, can't compare right-wingers saying wearing skirts is bad, and the people saying slurs would have an impact. You know why people would say that? Okay, but to be fair, but he's saying that, oh, well, you should have taken into account the fact that people were getting offended. Those were his words, not mine. Now, you could say, oh, well, that's a bad faith interpretation. But again, I'm criticizing him. You know, he needs to do a better job articulating himself, if that's not what he means, right? Why, greetings, Sir Femios, love the pink shirt you adorn. Now, we are back again with Sir iDubbbz, eh? Indeed, Hawthorne, indeed. Just want to add, Keem and Leafy are still awful people. Yeah, I don't know about Keem, but I know Leafy is pretty bad. They deserved it back then, and they deserve it today, true. Especially Leafy. I mean, he hates trans people, so, like, why? Like, I think it would have been better if he would just been like, oh yeah, I apologized. I'm sorry to everybody I made videos on, except Leafy. You still haven't found your chin yet, have you? Right? That would have been funny as fuck. Right? That's what he should have done. Nah, Keem is running crypto scams on his fan. Okay, yeah, he can go fuck himself then. Damn, I thought he changed. I thought he was chill now. That sucks. As for the whole, oh, well, but, like, okay. Look, mutated cutie, I understand what you're saying. I get that there's a difference there. But what I'm saying is, yes, I can understand how the use of slurs would have an impact. I get that. But it's not a matter of whether or not people get offended by it. That's maybe a very small part of the equation, but it's next to irrelevant, right? The real criticism you could make of iDubbbz back then would be that he was enabling legitimately racist behavior. That's the actual criticism. It wasn't that his content was inherently bigoted or hateful. The actual issue at hand was that he didn't he was... There were people in his audience who were genuinely racist that used Ian's content as a justification to be racist, as some sort of shield to hide behind, and he never addressed it. He never talked about it. He never disavowed that behavior, at least not adequately. You know, so that would be the real criticism you could have made. But no, of course, he has to be like, oh, that's too offensive. It's like, shut the fuck up. It's not about getting offended, right? But you notice how the impact I'm describing is a very, it's like a genuinely serious impact to consider, right? But it has nothing to do with people getting offended, right? It's more of a, okay, well, what are the consequences of this, right? Like, broadly, right? I don't think that saying, oh, well, you see, you know, that was too offensive, lol, is a good, utilitarian argument, right? Or consequentialist one, even. Because it's like, anyone can get offended by anything. That was why I used conservatives getting mad over me wearing a skirt. It's like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, well, you see, less people would get offended if I wasn't wearing a skirt, so I should stop wearing it. It's like, no. It's not about whether or not people get offended or how many people get offended. That's not the point, right? But I've just described what an actual criticism you could have made at the time would have been.
Many people at the time hid behind the word edginess as just like an excuse for being legitimately terrible to people.
That is a criticism of people that were in his audience. And the criticism of iDubbbz is that he didn't disavow them quickly enough.
In fact, if you want to talk about words that lost their power over time due to overuse, look no further than edgy. So the fact that he does
maybe, but not because of iDubbbz.
Make a clear distinction between edginess, which is perfectly fine, and harmful content, which is what his content was, at the very least, it seems like he's ready to be honest.
I mean, you could say it's harmful. If you give the right reasons. If you give the reasons that I've given, then I don't disagree. But all of the reasons that D'Angelo Wallace has given are stupid, really. They're not good reasons. They're bad reasons.
Content I'm talking about specifically are content cop videos and videos where I was just generally criticizing people for very lackluster reasons.
Which is cap. They were legitimate reasons.
Now, my first reaction was, hey, the people in Content Cop did deserve to be criticized.
True.
But then the more I thought about it, the more I realized he was right. Like,
no, that's fucking bullshit. Oh wait, sorry. I need to stop saying demonetization words. I'm sorry. Wait, why am I apologizing to the audience? You don't give a shit. They're okay. I did it again. That's wonderful. Look, I want to get money. Okay, I'm about to get monetized. I need to break bad habits. Okay, at least sometimes I need to have the ability to not swear like Gordon Ramsay when I stream. Right? It's like it shouldn't even be that hard. It's like in real life, I don't swear like Gordon Ramsay, right? So it's like, why do I do it when I'm streaming? It's like, well, it's a habit, right? But I should probably not do it as often as I do, because the YouTube algorithm is going to be like, nah, I'm not going to promote you. And it's like, okay, well, screw you. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to swear, by the way. I will, just not as frequently.
Yes, obviously, calling someone out for bullying kids is the right thing to do, but Ian himself said at the time that he didn't actually think bullying was bad. In fact,
That, my friend, is called framing. Oh my god.
his main problem was just that Leafy was insecure while bullying other people.
Well, no, the fact of the matter is, okay, the reason why that's effective, right, is, you know how when you're growing up, and let's say someone was being mean to you, they called you a butt face, and that made you really mad, and you told the teacher or your mom, right? And what do they always say to you? They're like, listen, little Jimmy, I know that they were really mean and hurtful, but, you know, the real reason that they're being mean to you is because they're insecure. They don't feel good about themselves, so they have to put others down. But no kid who hears that actually listens to what the person is saying when they say that, right? No kid is going to hear that and be like, oh, yeah, I agree with you. Thanks, that was really helpful. That never happens. Like, it doesn't resonate with anybody. But iDubbbz didn't just say that. He showed that message. And that was why it was so effective. He didn't just say, oh, the reason people bully is because they're insecure. He showed and he demonstrated that Leafy was provably insecure. That was the point. That was the whole point.
Similarly, Tanamojo using the N-word is obviously wrong, and anybody is well within their right to call that out. But then
I don't think that was the point of the video, though. He was calling her out for being a liar and a hypocrite. That was the actual criticism. Did we not watch the same video?
you think once again about how Ian at the time said he didn't care about the N-word either, and that he was really just doing it in retaliation to her hypocrisy. And you know what? These are honestly pretty lackluster reasons to criticize people. He wound
Wait, what? Did you not watch the video?
up being on the right side of all of those arguments in retrospect. I do want to make that very clear. But by his own admission, he kind of got there because it happened to align with his goals more so than it was the right thing to do.
No, it was the right thing to do. Maybe, well, not the Tana one. The Tana one was questionable. All the other ones weren't really questionable, even. I think he was well within his rights to make those videos, and I think that he made YouTube a better place, if anything, for calling people out like Keen Cunt and the chinless bastard known as Leafy.
It's also indoctrinated a lot of people into thinking that this is an okay way to behave, and it's not. It's super irresponsible and shitty.
This is another
Now that I think, I don't think that Ian worded it well. I don't think Ian worded it well, but I think that the premise that he laid out there, you know, watching this for whatever, the second or third time now, I actually agree with Ian here. This is the part where I'm like, yeah, Ian, wasn't clear about the context in which it is or isn't okay. Now, when he says that this isn't a good way to behave or whatever, he's not being specific enough. What he should have said is, people took what I said and made it out to be something that it wasn't, and I never clarified or disavowed that behavior, and I just sort of sat there idly watching it happen and didn't really do anything about it, and just kept making videos as if there wasn't a problem. Again, I think that something like that would have been more rhetorically effective.
Another part of the apology that I think was done really well. A direct call out to anyone who's using Ian's content or justifications as an excuse to do the same things he was doing.
No, it wasn't about them doing the same things. It was about them doing things that were actually bad, right? He was enabling, you know, people that are bad faith, right? He was enabling bad faith actors to, you know, twist his words and, you know, they barely even had to twist his words. They just had to kind of take them out of the context of what he actually believes, and then use it as a justification for things that he wouldn't try to defend. Right? Like, that was sort of one of the main issues. And, you know, I think if he was a live streamer, for instance, and he had clarified, I don't think it would have been an issue. I think that if he was more strategic about the way he made certain jokes or said certain things, I think that he would have done a lot of good. Especially if he had decided to be overtly political and left-wing. He could have done a lot of good by being like, oh yeah, being edgy doesn't make you right wing, okay? It's not a right wing thing, okay? You can be an edgy leftist. You can say the N-word if you want. I don't care. Just as long as your policy positions are based, right? That's all he had to do.
Something like this would have been a lot more useful about 6 years ago, but you know what? I'll take what I can get, broski.
I was being very bigoted in a lot of my videos.
I disagree.
And I justified it because
No, the thing that you were justifying, maybe, might have been other people's bigotry, right? Or ignoring it at the very least, right? Not taking it seriously enough. But you weren't the bigot, Ian.
I didn't think it was too serious. And I thought that people were going to see that I had good intentions. But
I mean, I did. I'm one of the people that understood the point of his content, right? I always understood where he was coming from. But maybe I wasn't the majority of people, or if I was, maybe I was the silent majority. I don't know. I always thought it was obvious, you know, especially because I was probably one of his youngest fans, all right? I'm 19 now, but I was whatever, like 12 or 13 when I first saw his content, right? And I understood the messages, but maybe it's because I wasn't versed politically, so I didn't know what the political ramifications or implications would be, maybe, potentially, you know, and maybe if I had never known about him, but I sort of held similar views that I hold now, then maybe what would have happened is I'd been like, oh yeah, he's right-wing or something. I have no idea, but I don't think he was ever right-wing or ideologically bigoted in any way, shape, or form.
that's so...
It's really a tragic thing, right? It's like, it's people misunderstanding, like, the core premises of his content and his arguments. People ignoring what he actually believed, even though you could read between the lines and figure it out. I did that. I'm not like some super, you know, genius or anything. I'm no Einstein, right? But I was able to figure it out in my early teen years. I didn't have a problem with it. It's really sad to see that other people, I guess, aren't the same as me in that regard. They twisted his words, and it's a tragic thing to see, because, like, his work was really good. It's just people misrepresented it and did a lot of bad with it. Took his words, you know, that meant one thing to Ian and said it meant another thing, right? I saw that Ian had good intentions. I mean, I always thought it was obvious. But again, maybe I'm just smarter than other people in some regards. I don't know. I mean, being incapable of literary analysis is inherently a right-wing thing, all right? I mean, normally I don't like to say shit like that, but I mean, come on. You all know it's true. Don't lie to me.
Silly. Casual racism is still racism.
It wasn't racism, though. That's the thing. You can say it led to racism.
Casual bigotry is still bigotry.
It must be nice to not think that bigotry is like that serious. Like to even be able to think that. Unfortunately, it winds up having really one-sided consequences.
See, this is why, you know, if you're gonna make certain jokes and whatnot, you have to understand how to do it strategically enough for it to not produce negative outcomes, right? You have to, it's like he had the right energy, he just wasn't putting it in the right direction, right? I think if he were to, I don't know, you know, rather than making an apology video or changing his content, if he had started, you know, producing left-wing content and became a leftist streamer or made a content cop on Matt Walsh, that would have done a lot of good. That would have been really fucking good for the left. But that didn't happen. It was a missed opportunity.
For people who don't have the privilege of thinking of it as being anything other than serious.
And you have to remember that, like, I think that a lot of the younger people in his fan base, right? People that were like me probably just took it at face value as well. We're just like, they weren't political, but they could have been swayed politically to the left by iDubbbz if he chose to use his platform that way. And I know for a fact Ian is a leftist. I don't know if he was centrist or apolitical. I think he might have been apolitical in the past and became a leftist. Or he was always leftist, but it wasn't always something he talked about. I have no idea. Either way, I think he could have done a lot of good with that same style of rhetoric that you seem to dislike a lot.
And in that same vein, I would kind of suggest the idea that there's actually no such thing as casual racism either, because, like, it's never casual. But I definitely
what do you... So, like, what do you mean by that? Because, I mean, he was casually saying certain words that maybe you're not a big fan of. I mean, I don't really find it that funny anymore. I mean, well, okay, let's be real, I kind of do, but you get what I mean, right? It's like, okay.
I do understand it's a useful term for denoting racism that is not done with malice or the intent to harm people.
Yeah. Well, at least you acknowledge that it wasn't malicious.
And so it's good that Ian does see that all of it is wrong regardless.
It doesn't matter what my intentions are. Like, if I'm hurting people, I'm hurting people. Who the f knows what my intentions are? Like, sarcasm and jokiness and jokey tone only goes so far, especially over the internet.
I hate how my camera isn't working.
Even in real life, that's like an impossible thing to know with 100% certainty.
He's definitely come a long way from getting mad at Tana for calling him racist for...
Well, no, he got mad at Tana because she was a liar, a hypocrite, lied about iDubbbz, told him to kill himself, said she wishes that he broke both of his legs and lost all of his subscribers, etc., right? So don't pretend like Tana was completely innocent either, okay? She deserved criticism. A lot of the criticism was warranted. Okay, that's what you're failing to understand here.
Being racist. If you are having the exact same impact as a bigot, then truly, what difference do your intentions make in the first place?
Well, I think that, again, if he had just explained what his intentions are and disavowed certain behavior from his audience, I think that that could have done wonders and would have done a lot of good, actually. It would have done way more good than bad.
I'm really glad that he's no longer fueling that stupid guessing game that people try to rope you in with when they don't really want to acknowledge that what they're doing is racist.
I am absolutely responsible for my audience. I've clearly done a lot of damage. These videos...
See, again, if he just understood politics when he was making those videos, and made the videos in a similar vein, but, like, understood how to frame things without, like, you get what I mean, right? Like, either way. Also, why is the chat broken? What the hell? It's like, I can see part of the message. Oh, there we go. Ah! Where are we? I don't even think Leafy hates trans people. He sucks at being transphobic. True. He knows his fans are hateful, so he tries to make money off them. Yeah, no, I know. He's still a bad person, though. If these chaps dislike iDubbbz so much, why don't they just not watch iDubbbz? All of them are saying that iDubbbz is so shit, looks pathetic and useless. True. Where's the lamb sauce? True. You also need mods, too, so people don't spam the N-word in chat and get your shit blocked. Well, if they're spamming, it's the reason they would get banned is not because they're saying the N-word, but because they're spamming. Because spamming is bannable, just regardless of what you're saying. Though I must say, iDubbbz has a very lovely mustache. I agree. You could say those idiotic membranes have graduated at McDonald's, or at least have been promoted in Germany's summer camp in 1933. Is it the camp for people with ADHD, the one that helps them concentrate? Sorry. I had to. D'Angelo literally doesn't know anything about the content cops. True. I don't think he ever watched a single video that iDubbbz has made. Or, like, he watched, like, the first minute or something of the Keemstar video, and then part of the Tana one. Leafy is literally using all the Groypers, lol. They're falling for bait. Yeah, no, I know, but it's still cringe, right? It's kind of funny that they're falling for it when he's really bad at transphobic. But it's like, it's almost like an insult to me, you know? It's like clearly I don't live rent-free in his head the same way I live in Matt Walsh's head rent-free, right? Because he doesn't give a shit. But he's also insulting me, so it's like I can't be like, oh, I'm living rent-free in his head, really. It's like, come on. Like, you gotta choose one or the other, right? It's like, you can't insult me without me not living rent-free in your head. Like, what the fuck, man? That's fucked up. What the hell, Leafy? How could you do this to us? You know, I don't know. It's like insulting me without me even living rent-free in your head. It's kind of cringe. I don't like that. It's a problem. This is a real-world problem, guys. either way, I can't watch any more of this. This is awful. This is like the worst video I've ever watched. This was D'Angelo, my guy, if you're watching this, you gotta get better at leftism, my guy. D'Angelo Wallace be like, all straight white males are racist, homophobic, and sexist. Also, D'Angelo fanbase seems to be sensitive. True. Pretty sure Matt wants us dead. Yeah, but at least we live rent-free in his head, right? And that's like the one upside. So he's constantly thinking about trans people. It warms my heart. Hey, thank you, Toki, for the $10. Ooh woo and colon through. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yes, thank you for that. I appreciate that very much. But yes, thank you very much. Anyways, is this the part where I end stream? I have money now. Oh, well, thank you so much for donating to me. I always appreciate it. I'm gonna have to add 1,000 dumplings and you to the top donators, the based donators section of my channel, because I keep meaning to do that. So hopefully I remember to do it soon. But D'Angelo, my guy, life ain't that serious, bro. All right, and I know you can. Ending stream when Toki just donated SMH. You don't have to, lol. Don't worry about it. Wow, oh my god. Y'all are guilt tripping me into streaming longer. Yeah. I know how it is. Nah, but in all seriousness, yeah. I guess I don't know. It's just sad that people don't understand the point of Ian's old content. That like they just don't get it. They don't understand it. It's sad. Well, it's okay, you can end stream. I will soon. Okay, I see you got that femboy drip. Hell yeah, I do. Slimy. I do, and my camera's not working properly. I was gonna show it off. Maybe. If my camera was working. But now I have to turn it off so that it stops lagging. Oh, God. Why does it do this? Does my camera just hate me? Does my camera just hate me? It really be like that, huh? Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's like, D'Angelo, if you're watching this, I hate to break it to you, but life ain't that serious. Just have some fun. Stop being boring and annoying, okay? Be like me, okay? You can address serious topics, okay? I talk about the fucking trans genocide, okay? You think that's a fun thing to talk about? No. But I can still have fun sometimes. I can still make jokes about trans people, despite being trans, and listen and enjoy when people that aren't trans make trans jokes in good faith. When it's like, come on. D'Angelo was the topic of the stream, but it was too boring for him to finish it. Yeah. Yeah, true. Also, the camera's working, but yeah, I got that femboy drip. Hell yeah. Ooh. Ooh. I always bump into stuff. Because it's like, you know, like... Anyways, sorry about that. But yeah, no, D'Angelo, if you're watching this, make better videos. Stop being boring. Stop advocating for other people to be boring. You don't benefit anybody other than maybe yourself. But, like, I don't know how his videos get any views. I mean, the audience retention has to be terrible. Like, I mean, it makes me feel better about my content. But, and my camera's lagging. But at least I'm not boring like D'Angelo. But I am tired. Alright? My camera's still not working. I am tired because I was working today before this stream. I guess this is also working in a sense. Trans people try not to joke about sex challenge. True. Yeah, not joking about BDSM, sex, or being trans, or calling people bottoms. Like, we can't live without that shit. That's like our entire sense of humor. What the fuck? Come on. Also, I need to stop swearing so much. Okay, bottom, shut up. Nah, I need to appease the YouTube gods at this point, because it's like, I know I'm entertaining enough to get promoted algorithmically, but it's like, you know, especially for long-form content. I'm good with the long-form content recently, right? Maybe this isn't the best example of that, because I've been a little bit more tired, you know, not nearly as energetic or loud or whatever, right? But some people might actually prefer that. I don't know. Some people probably prefer the more laid-back approach, where I'm just, like, kind of just chilling, you know? Some people have actually told me they prefer that. Whereas other people are like, yeah, I love the high energy. Love your energy, bro. There's a lot of it, you know? It's always good to have a nice balance, you know? And at the end of the day, again, I don't hate D'Angelo or anything, but my guy's gotta make better content, right? But, you know, considering the fact that there's no way he gets good audience retention, and the fact that, you know, his content does well despite that, makes me think maybe it's because he actually appeases the YouTube algorithm and doesn't swear every 5 seconds. Then you'll just be like, I need to stop fucking swearing. Like, oh my god. Not true. You got a good point. You got a good point. I can't help it, okay? I can, but like, look, just shut up. I'm trying, okay? I swear. Look, I'm getting there, alright? I'm getting there. I will worship the YouTube gods, okay? I will do what they say. Because ultimately, they are the ultimate arbiters of truth. The YouTube algorithm is my god, okay? People say that I need to believe in the Christian God, but in reality, I believe in the YouTube algorithm god, okay? That's who I really worship. I worship Susan would just get, oh wait, I mean Neil, whatever his last name is, because Susan isn't CEO anymore, and the YouTube algorithm, okay? Those are the only things that I'll ever worship. Okay? Yeah. Alright. Goodbye, everyone. Oh, man. Sorry for shorter stream, but it is what it is. I wanted to do a short little stream.